All right, guys, you ready? Left. I am so excited to be here to speak about the intersection of media and content, which is really exciting. It definitely makes me a little more spicy. I'm Gabrielle Heyman. I work at Zynga. We are one of the largest gaming companies in the world. And why don't we go ahead and just do introductions?
Hi, I'm Lanie Friedman. I lead brand communications and content at Conagra Brands. We have about 85 brands and support them all very, very differently. So we'll talk about some of that today. But I'm here with my colleagues to talk about how we work together on content and media. And I've been at Conagra for 11 years now.
And then I'm Alex Birchmeier. I lead our media team as well as our own platform. So brand website, CRM. So paid owned or
Content.
We've got it all covered here on the stage. All right, so icebreaker, first question. What was your favorite Conagra product when you were growing up? And how has that changed? What is it now?
So my favorite Conagra product when I was growing up was definitely the Chef Boyardee pizza kit. My parents would let me have it when I had a babysitter on Saturday nights. So I have a lot of fond memories of making that pizza kit. Now we still sell the pizza kit, but it is a very small business. So my favorite brand is Angie's Boom Chicka Pop. We bought it in 2017, and it's just a fantastic brand to eat and a great brand to work on.
yeah, I am also a chef fan. So Andrea, I am your child. Chef beefaroni, ravioli, got all of that. It's still not that though. I have elevated. Lanie will notice I healthy choice max
Every day.
every lunch with my cottage cheese. So that is my lunch every day, and I'm sticking to it.
Love creature of habit. I also love the popcorn. Like that's a family favorite. My kids take it to school. All right, so let's get to it. So you oversee the paid side of the media, and you are content. And when we prepped for this, we spoke a lot about how closely entwined you guys work together. And even though you report up into different parts of the organization, you represent as one. So I'm hoping that you could share with the audience a little bit more about how your partnership works, how it evolved, and like how was the evolution to be such a closely aligned team?
Yeah, honestly, I really do feel like COVID made that happen. I think we always worked closely, but when you are now virtual and having to know what the left hand and right hand are doing virtually, we met every day at 8:30 a.m. Monday through Friday during the pandemic as an integrated team. Just make sure what you're doing, what I'm doing, and really broke down the silos of our team. So I did think that happened.
Absolutely. I also think as the media landscape has changed, we have more channels and places that we can show up, but you need to think about the content and the media together because neither one is exclusive. So if you're making mutually exclusive decisions on either, you will fail for sure. So I think we've just been forced to work closer and closer together. I think we're an interesting company because we were a communications team that now runs all of content because content is a lot different than it used to be. A lot of the content is earned through influencers or creators. So we're just working differently. And to be like super honest and cheesy, I trust Alex implicitly. I talk to Alex every day, multiple times a day, text, email, Teams, everything. And I think we have a great partnership because I think we have great respect for each other and each other's teams, and we kind of have similar values. So it really works well.
Yeah, building trust was definitely a critical element of it, but then also not thinking my budget, your budget, those types of conversations that can happen within the walls sometimes can feel like me versus you, even though we work at the same company. We got rid of that and now work with one budget. It's a content and media budget.
Absolutely, and it used to be really, really siloed, and I think when we were siloed, it was really, really bad because there were activations and things coming from all parts of the organization, and there wasn't a lot that made sense, and there weren't a lot of best practices. And I think breaking down the silos just has helped not only give us one budget, more like collective decision making, but has really helped our teams. I think there's better consistency in processes, how we operate, treating each other better, actually being like full team members, and creating culture. So I think things are really different, but I think to Alex's point, COVID sort of helped with that because we were forced to work differently, and I think being forced to look at things, work differently with your teams, just was a huge catalyst. And I think now I can't even imagine a day that our teams wouldn't work together. I feel like it's always like Alex and I. Like I mean, it wouldn't work if we went and did things separately. I don't think.
Yeah, I think that's very interesting because so many people talk about COVID, about bringing people apart and making them more isolated, but I had the same experience as you guys because I'm in a satellite location. So sometimes I felt like I wasn't privy to certain conversations, and COVID really leveled the playing field. And now we've emerged like way more enmeshed with the rest of the company, so I relate to that a lot. Question, like when you guys kind of discovered this, right? Like during COVID, you kind of had no choice, or you decided to align more closely. Were there challenges that you saw immediately that you had to identify and resolve to break down those walls?
I think we've had challenges along the way, but a lot of them I feel like have started because of our historical things. So I think getting people to think differently is hard at first, right? So if you have been a team that's been operating sort of in a silo, doing your own thing, it's sort of forcing the team to kind of come along. And I think once that happened, it was sort of magic. I also think like our leadership, so I report to our CCO and Alex reports to our COO. They have very different backgrounds, and so they were forced to work more together, and I think sort of forging those partnerships has been, I would say, not challenging, but different because they weren't used to working together. But I think now we have a lot of really good processes in place, including a meeting every Monday with our senior leadership team up through our CEO. That has really helped to like keep us all aligned and working on modern working together.
Yeah, all of that. And the other thing that was also a challenge was our agency support model too. Because with us changing how we work internally, it forced them to have to work differently as well, which cannot always be easy. Having creative agency, media agency, PR agency, we call these IATs. We really never operated that way. So having them kind of follow along with us, as well as the partners that we work with too directly. So it's not, an idea can come from anywhere. It can come from a content person, it can come from a media person, and it can come from an agency, or it can come from a partner. So we really kind of dropped that kind of ego too, like it's my idea, my budget, this is what we're gonna do it. And we've really kind of moved into this, I call it like a hybrid agency.
The majority of our agencies, even though we do still have a media agency and we have a social agency, and we might have other agency partners coming in and out, making like connected TV and things like that. But we meet together, and we have 2 meetings a week where at one point they were 2 hours each. I think we've shortened them to be like an hour each. So Tuesdays we meet and Thursdays we meet, and we talk through our real-time work on Tuesday as a full team, so internally and our agency partners. And then on Thursday we talk about our planned work. So not only are we like a hybrid team internally, I feel like our agencies are hybrid as well with us.
And you're bringing them in, they're all together represented in the same meeting.
Yeah, we do a lot virtually. I mean, our agencies are in all over the place, but everyone's in the same meeting, and it's been great because everyone hears the same thing, and we all have the same goals. I mean, our content is going to be deployed through media, so we have to be working together, and like Alex said, ideas can come from anywhere.
Yeah, and I have to think that when teams are siloed, there's more competition of like, I did it better, mine was more effective, but really you've one company and one goal at the end of the day, which is to move product and reach hearts and minds.
And we want to reach more people at the most efficient cost at the end of the day with the non-working and the working. So not having a whole big budget for non-working, so then we have none left for working, that can happen. So having this communal budget has made it seem there's no more kind of hiding. It's a good idea, but we have to weigh the pros and cons of the costs at the end of the day.
Got it. And well, so I'm assuming you've seen a lot of benefits because you're still working like this and growing and cementing your partnership clearly in this post-COVID world. So what are some of the benefits? I mean, have you seen demonstrable result changes from your closer collaboration?
Yeah, so Lanie was mentioning we meet weekly, like 2 times a week, and we talk about planned, we talk about real time, but we talk about how everything's performing at the same time. So creative is in there, media is in there, we're making optimizations every week when we're on. That was a huge unlock. We're no longer, we have real-time dashboards giving us all of the information all at once. We're all listening to the same thing. It's not a game of telephone. We've also had to make sure that no one's taking this personally either. Like if the creative isn't performing, it's just not performing. Let's move on, stop it, and start something new, but actually learn from it. So that's been a huge unlock too, as well.
I think it's also been working really well because we're sharing best practices in real time with all of the people. I think we used to kind of get together with our teams and maybe best practices would travel through different teams, but not always. And so in these meetings, we're all hearing the same things at the same time. We can all, to Alex's point, work on optimizations together. And then, like on a real-time meeting, anyone can share a real-time idea, which is looking for signals in market. So whether it's in the news or on social or anywhere, everyone has an opportunity to do that, bring the idea, and then we work together to decide what's moving forward. So it's not the content team has decided that this is going forward. It's a group decision between content and media on what's going to go forward and where our real-time paid dollars would go, things like that. So I think it's a really unique system, but I think our results have been better for sure.
Example, pickleball is a thing. And to be the official pickle of pickleball, classic.
The first pickle to
would not have come out, and like Classic doesn't have a media budget. Let's be honest, we have not advertised pickles in a long time. It might have been back in the day, but the way we operate now, just because you don't have a budget for that brand, but there's a great signal out there, we're able to attach to it immediately.
Yeah. I love it. Maybe we can learn from the last panel where like retail media gets lemon lovers for lemon heads and we do pickles.
Seems like a lot of people are pickle lovers. Like
Yeah.
everyone's talking about pickles right now.
All right, got it. Good. Okay. People like pickles from the lemons. All right. So now let's get into some campaign examples. One of the brand collaborations you guys have executed is WWE and Slim Jim. So I know we have commercial video to watch. So why don't we do that and then I'll get to the question.
Again, with feeling. Oh yeah!
Need a new tune?
Step into a Slim Jim!
Get savage.
Add it to the spice! Unacceptable! Yeah! You say let's never do a Slim Jim! Oh yeah!
Nice. All right, so what was that aha moment that created this campaign? And like when you guys came up with the idea, was there a sense of urgency to get it out there? And like just about your marketing partnership on how this became a reality.
Absolutely. I can start, but definitely Bill. But Slim Jim's a brand that over, I would say the past 5 years or so, we've built a lot of cred in general in the world just based on our social communities. Everything we've done has been like purely organic, but I think we have about 6 million followers all through organic across our channels, TikTok being our strongest. But we understand and communicate with our communities every day, and we know what's important to them. So gaming, extreme sports, we knew that Randy Savage is a big part of our history, and every time we do something with Savage, the community goes crazy. And so we hadn't done anything official with the WWE in years, but we know there's a whole new group of wrestling fans. So how do we bridge our fantastic Savage history with the WWE into like the present? Because these wrestling stars and personalities today have huge followings too. So we started looking at what a modern partnership would look like, and taking, I think that commercial is a great example, some lessons from the way that we worked the Savage stuff in the past and just built it into something that if you were a fan of Randy Savage, you get it, but if you're a fan of Slim Jim or today's WWE and Superstars, you'd also get it. And so WWE is our first real paid way of kind of incrementally reaching people beyond our organic social audiences, and it's been really great. I would say that it's something that we started looking at last year, and we looked at a lot of partners, and we wanted a partner that felt authentic to us and where we could have a really custom activation. I think there are a lot of partners that have really big names and also could have been interesting from what our community is interested in, but they weren't offering, first of all, there was not the authenticity there, and they also weren't offering as much of a customization. So this just felt like a really, really bright partnership for us. So we've been super excited. It launched in August, right?
Yeah, didn't you guys make it in like 3 days?
Oh yeah, that spot was shot on a Monday, and by like Friday it was on air, and it was one of the coolest shoots I've actually ever been on. So we blew up piano. There was like dynamite. It was crazy, but it's been a great partnership and just super different because the brand hadn't done anything paid for years.
Oh, totally. And nostalgia, I mean, the comments that we got on this, you couldn't pay for it, honestly, when we put this on YouTube, and how many people remembered Randy Savage, and how we paid homage to him, and then how we're now modernizing it with the new superstars, really was great to see.
The LA Knight stuff was crazy.
Yeah.
So LA Knight is the wrestler that's featured in there, as well as Bianca Belair. They both have like incredible followings, but LA Knight is like on a tear in the wrestling world, and so he was shooting B-roll and other like just random like news segments, and the publicity that we got just from him talking about Slim Jim was incredible. So it's just it's been really interesting, and I think this year it'll be a really fun year to watch Slim Jim kind of go through this partnership and see the levers that we pull, because WWE's everywhere, so it's not just like, you know, in ring or on their media properties. There's other media properties and other things that are so closely affiliated. So it's super fun.
Yeah, we can talk about 2K.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we actually have a new game that's like a sister league called Power Slap. I don't know if anyone knows about the Power Slap league, but it's a little edgy, but we'll talk about it. All right, so being a part of the cultural zeitgeist is clearly important for every brand these days, and it's an important pillar for you guys specifically. Clearly working together allows you to like capitalize on what's happening. You've talked about like the pickle and pickleball and the WWE campaign. So how, and your speed of getting that shot and getting it on air in like 5 days. So how do you guys capture the moment before it's gone with things moving so quickly through social?
So I think some of it is about relevancy and showing up versus perfection. Sometimes I think a lot of brands miss moments because they're looking for like the perfect way to do it. And I think we want to show up well and want to show up great, but we're not looking for always like the perfect thing that's going to be a PowerPoint that goes through 100 levels of our leadership. And we meet every Tuesday. Like I said, we look at signals, and sometimes 3 hours later we have content. We work closely with our legal teams involved. They look at things in real time with us. We just have, I feel like, because we've been doing this, I think for like the past 6 years, we've built a pretty good process, and there's a lot of trust. And so I don't know, I think we've got to move fast, but I think some of it is like being there versus being perfect. And I think like some companies miss opportunities because they're looking for perfection.
Yeah, and some now we're going to be Grand Slams at the end of the day either. But these, again, kind of testing type of budgets that then we can look back in a week and go, that performed okay, or that didn't really do much, and we're okay with it. But some of them really do become these kind of moments that aren't just paid, but they become this earned thing that then we put paid behind it. It becomes this kind of snowballs.
I think about Sharon Weiss, who's a woman who, like 2 Thanksgivings ago, she complained because she burnt her pie and burnt it so bad that she became like an internet roasting sensation. There were like Facebook groups that were roasting her, and she's all over the news. And basically, her post that she posted to Marie Callender's right for the holiday was like, "Thanks Marie Callender's for ruining my holiday," or something like that. People are like asking her if her pie was on the sun, She's done like horrible like stuff, but we ended up being able to like kind of resurrect that by working directly with her on Pi Day and kind of like turning her into a hero. And I feel like sometimes it's just looking for what's out there and trying to even like make a consumer happy and see what happens.
You guys are bringing me back. My grandma loved Marie Callender's pies. All right, well, speaking of an organic thing that happens, the Slim Jim and Cinnabon thing.
Saw that?
Yes. So this is actually really interesting because once I started researching, basically there were these like we know because we're in marketing, so two social media managers, and they started kind of like flirting about how they loved each other's food. And then it became like this life of its own. Like there was this back and forth banter between them, and then you guys capitalized on it. So I think that's a like perfect example to get into now.
So it's been like a 2-year flirtation. So we finally got married. I think it was like 2 Fridays ago, right? So we had this little black wedding, and it really just started organically. I think we always on Slim Jim, we're a really tight-knit community. We have a lot of brand friends, so we started flirting with Cinnabon, and it became, more than a flirtation, where I think the conversations just kept going and going and going, and people thought they were really funny. And I think like one of the coolest things about the wedding is we actually didn't do any paid around the wedding, but we got so much press and we got some press for it, but we also got so much love from the community because it was so funny. But one of the things that helped with the reach a lot is a lot of other brands wanted to play. So we had like Auntie Anne's was like the maid of honor or something, and she wrote like this like poem, and 7-Eleven got involved and did something. So I felt like, although we didn't have the dollars at that point to do anything through paid, we pulled in a ton of other brand partners and made it a really big thing.
There's still a place for X.
But it was really authentic as this thing too.
Absolutely.
So that came through because sometimes you can see these things that come out that are not authentic, or like a new product that's a thing because they need to get more market share or come out with something, and you're like, that's not. This was like very.
We've seen like a lot of copycats, especially lately on like these like girlfriend type things, and like I think like the magic was it was like really real. It was like this flirtation that was happening online that like blossomed into a relationship, and it just felt really right. But then like the copycats don't really work, I feel like, and that's kind of we've seen brands copying it lately, and like National Girlfriend's Day and things like that. And it's not great when you're the third one to show up like that.
Yeah. Well, then people try to recapture. It's like a sequel that doesn't work or whatever. Yeah. Okay, so how are you measuring the success for them? Like, I'm very particularly interested in this. Like, what are the KPIs, and how are you judging if something's a success or not?
Yeah, we meet on, like I mentioned, weekly, but we also agreed on the KPIs together at the end of the day, so that we're speaking the same language. At the end of the day, it's all about reaching people efficiently, media, with a compelling piece of content where they need with word sense. So we have 2 different kind of KPIs that we always look at: cost per reach from an efficiency standpoint, and then the effectiveness of how that creative did. That can be different from each platform to platform, but that's how we really value it. And then we put it into a dashboard, and then we see every single one of them all together, looking at what's performing where and how, and then make those optimizations in that call.
And then if it's not paid, the organic stuff, we look for things that have very good reach and very good engagement metrics, and that's how we decide if we're gonna take anything from real time and move it into paid.
And then tying it back to retail or sales?
Oh, I wish. That's the holy grail right there. And I think what we talked about kind of in the previous panel of connecting those dots from a CPG. We obviously do a lot with retailer media networks, but you're beholden to how they measure, all of that kind of stuff. And what we can actually place on there is kind of up to them as well. So we kind of use these, what I call vanity metrics, as our guide to go, oh, that one really took off organically, put that in paid immediately. Or if it's already in paid, what are the ones that are kind of getting people to engage? Or are they actually viewing the video? Or is it the influencer that we think actually is a really good fit for that? So we have those types of conversations because it's not, there's targeting, there's the actual creative, there might be the influencer, it could be the brand, it could be the moment. So there's all these different variables that are happening, but actually having a human dialogue about them and why that worked, keep doing that, stop doing this, and then optimize out.
And I think that's why media and content need to work so closely together because I feel like, especially content, if you don't have any idea who you're targeting or where this is going, the content just is not going to do what you want it to do.
Yeah. This is, so one of my partners internally helped me write these questions. We both collaborated, so some of the smart ones are mine. But she wrote this thing that I thought was really funny. Do brand managers line up at your door pitching you like a director pitching a movie idea to a studio?
I would say pre-COVID, yes. Yes. And we have 85 brands. And I want to say 100 brand team members. So you can see how long that line could have gotten. And they all, annual planning, they know when it's starting, when those conversations are. I would say we built a process though internally where we have two people that make those decisions. Our president of refrigerated frozen and our president of grocery snack. So now the brand managers are Lanie in front of
But they say they are lining up in front of somebody.
They are going to constantly pitch. I mean, and I work hard too. I'm act like an entrepreneur. Go for it. If you have a good idea, good innovation coming out, absolutely go for it. But there's limited dollars, limited people to do it.
I think it's like what was said on the last panel. It would be great if we could spend some resources on some of the smaller things that might be more of an experiment, but we have to take care of the big priorities first. So we do that with the alignment of the two presidents, and then if something comes up as a signal in real time, like the pickleball thing, for instance, Elastic was a brand that never was supposed to get paid support, and we got the partnership because it just made sense. So that, I think being culturally relevant helps a lot.
Yeah, not being so stricken to, I'm this brand and I have this much money. Those days for us are gone. Annual plans, gone. When we would make an annual plan, we would change it 500 times before that year was done. So really quarterly plans and then leading budget for real time has been our kind of secret sauce on that.
So we only have like a few minutes left, so I have a couple more questions, but I was gonna throw it out to the room in case anyone wants to ask one. All the way in the back.
It's kind of like following up on the question you just asked, but how do you determine like where budget is going? Like you said that so obviously some of the flashier stuff is going to cost more money. So for like Slim Jim versus like a Vlasic, which also is like a classic brand, it's always in a lot of people's household. Like, what's kind of the rationale and like what's getting the budget for like the flashier pieces of content, like what you did with Slim Jim?
Yeah, their size of business, profitability, those business metrics are a guide for helping determine, what feels right for each one. So things like that. In COVID, it was also, is it in stock? Like that was one of the questions, like, can we actually giving that product to sell? So that has kind of gone out the window, but a lot of just working with the businesses and their size and price here, what's gonna make our quarterly, yearly numbers, and what's gonna really move the needle for us.
So like what % of brands have budget, like roughly?
It changes every day.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding.
Yeah, I know, or I just quarterly.
No, but I mean, at the beginning of this fiscal, I think maybe 15. It felt like that was,
85.
yeah, not 85.
Yeah, I mean, I think that those types of questions honestly help your media partners like me in the room to know like where's the heat map.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. I mean, it's to the point in the last panel, fewer, bigger, better. And I think we would love to support a lot of the brands probably in our portfolio that we may not support all the time because some of them honestly are probably the most culturally relevant ones that we have. But we need to focus because we don't have unlimited dollars on the ones that are going to move the business. And so that's where we spend most of our time, I'd say. Which is why real time is so important because it does give those other brands a chance to get something when it makes the most sense.
So, in this amazing journey on this model, where do you see the next iteration? Part 1. Part 2, what is the baby's name? Is it Slimmer?
Oh, part 1. Oh, man. I mean, I could honestly, here's the evolution of this, because we haven't really talked about retailer media network. We haven't talked about shopper marketing here. We've been talking primarily national media. I think the convergence of the retail media network plus this national thing is going to be really where the sweet spot is headed, with things like AI to get it done.
I agree with Alex, and I don't know what the baby's name is yet. Probably, I don't even want to say, I know I got it wrong. The people, that community manager much better than me at that, so stay tuned.
They're still on their honeymoon, so.
We're posting the recipe next week though, if you're interested in making us some
Yeah, I'm wondering what the, like, how long the pregnancy is in this type of.
Sky's the limit, we can make up anything that we want at this point.
All right, so I am gonna wrap it up with, you know, there's a lot to learn clearly about how you guys are structured the team and in the room. And to end, like, what would be your advice to help other companies break down the silos?
I guess my biggest advice would be to not be territorial and to think of other partners that you have, you know, in marketing or other places around the organization as true partners versus people who are providing services. I think also really trust the people that you work with. I think we would never be in this place without like trusting each other. So I think it's just feel okay working in a way that might be uncomfortable because it'll work out better at the end.
Yeah, I think there was a couple panels about courage and having the courage to do that, I think, but that comes over time. It doesn't happen overnight, but having empathetic, transparent, actually listening conversations with that person will eventually build that over time.
All right, well, thank you so much.